everybody. I'd like to introduce you to Sashia Dumont. I hope I'm pronouncing this all right. And Paul Robinson.
You did.
We
got that right,
my
too.
little short shack in the back for a discussion about their film Neptune. Sashia and Paul, it is a pleasure to meet you.
You too.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for being here. How are you guys?
Good.
We're good.
Considering, you know.
Yeah. All things considered.
So let's talk about Neptune. That film is wild. It's some crazy stuff. I love sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah, us too.
And I read a little blurb about what you guys talked about that film, and correct me if I'm mistaken, that was just something you guys did for fun.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. I wanted to make something to kind of push, whenever I learn something, I want to kind of build a project around it. So I wanted to kind of, I do visual effects, light visual effects and motion graphics for my day job. And I really wanted to kind of push the boundaries of what I could do and why not build a whole entire short around it?
Yeah.
That's exciting. So those are your light visual effects.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, it was initially supposed to be for a competition.
Really?
And we were like, oh yeah, so there was no story. He was just like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. Normally I write all of our scripts, and so this was new for me because I was like, what do you mean we don't have a story? He's like, I don't know, we'll figure it out. So we just went outside and started filming, and he was like, okay, just react to something. And I was like, what? He's like, I don't know.
Okay.
So all of the reactions of film, I had no idea what I was reacting to or what it was going to look like, how high up it was.
Wow.
I was just trying to react to something that we could build a story around. And so that was probably my only complaint, was like, I just so wish I knew what was going to happen at the end, because I would have maybe done something different as an actor, but I was like, all right, well, just go with it.
Yeah.
So
That's
what we
really
did.
neat, because I guess the unknown, the organic unknown for you really aided in the organic unknown of the character and what is going to happen, and it's the unexpected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It read really well. It was very well done.
It was one of those shoots that you got to like harken back to the days when you would just grab a camera with your friends and go in the woods and film something for fun. Obviously with better equipment than then, but so in that regards, it was a really fun day.
That's wild. So
and the months later to do the visual effects.
Well, I'm sorry, say that one more time.
And then all the months later to do all the visual effects for it.
How long did it take you to do that?
Well, it's a funny story actually, because I was diving into uncharted territory. I would build out the visual effects for the whole entire piece, and then by the time I was done building it, I have learned so much, and I was like, oh, I should implement this at the beginning. So then I would turn around and do it again. And so I ended up doing the visual effects for it probably like 2 or 3 times, just because of all the amount that I learned along the way, and I wanted to implement it in the whole piece just versus one thing at a time. So it was like
about 2 months.
Yeah, about 2 months.
Oh wow, that's really cool. That's a big job. All right, so question for you. This piece it's a moment. Okay,
Yeah.
A moment in time, and obviously there's a before and there's an after. So my question for you is, as the filmmaker, the story writer, what happened and where is it going? Did you think about that before you jumped into this?
No,
No.
it was because it was I think a 1 or 2 minute competition.
Okay.
So the intention was for it to just be a scene.
Yeah.
And so then we had to try to just sort of give it a first, second, and third act in that short amount of time.
Okay.
And so we've gotten a lot of requests and questions about when that beast is coming back and where the story's going to go. So it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that we would go back to it.
I mean,
I want to know what happens next.
Yeah. Yeah. It started as a kind of a proof of concept,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, we may build off of it if it's been received well, which is great. And so, if there's people that really want to see it continue, and maybe it will.
So talk to me about the character, the creature. How did you get to the point where you said, okay, this is what it is. This is what it looks like. Where did that come from?
Well, originally, like Sashia was saying, that it went through many iterations. At one point, it was going to be like a smoke type monster, and then another point, it was going to be like a mechanical monster, and then I settled in on having like an organic life form, because those are always so challenging. Like doing mechanical stuff isn't necessarily easier, but doing any kind of like life form where there's bending of skin and textures and stuff gets really tough. So I figured, like, why not just do something really tough? And then the creature design is just kind of something I bought the creature as an asset and then manipulated it to fit what I wanted it to look like.
I thought, what do you mean you bought it? What does that mean? You actually?
So you can go onto like sites and purchase pre-made assets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this was one of them, but then I needed the structure of it, so there was still more manipulation and stuff I had to do, because to do it from scratch would have been like 6 months. So I kind of cheated in that, like, I had a head start in that I kind of bought the base structure for what I wanted, and then I went in and remodeled it and manipulated the portions of it that I did.
Is it an actual physical, tangible item, or is it, where you say, is it a digital?
Yeah, it was all digital.
Yeah, it's basically like you can purchase the skeleton of something, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then you can build around it. So that what it was originally modeled after doesn't really look like what we wound up with, but he had basically the shape of it.
Yeah.
And the skeleton of you, if you will. And then it's going in and trying to match the light outside to what it would look like bouncing off its skin, because it's overcast, so there's not going to be like sun shining down on it, but there's still going to be pieces of light, and that was probably what took the longest time, because I don't do the technical graphic side of things. I'm like the official judge of it. That's it. Like, I come over when he has something and I'm like, I don't like this. Here's what I don't like. And I don't know how to change it, but and then he, we work together with those kinds of things, but he does all of that design on his own, and he'll, show me and say, this is what I got so far. And then it's sitting there going like, doesn't this look weird here? Or that look weird there? And then changing that. And I mean, down to like spots of like where it should have more spots or not
more
spots.
Dirt here,
dirt here, dirt kicking up there. And so it was like a whole thing with that for a while, how the dirt was coming off the tail. That was like probably 2 weeks of just like getting the dirt to fall off the tail right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really intense. And so one of the things that stands out for me with all films, but specifically this one, is your color palette. And going back to that organic feel of the creature and of the moment. Talk to me about your process with color going into the film.
I wanted to, because I knew this was going to be a VFX heavy piece. I wanted to kind of, have color play a role, because then whatever color I use to grade everything with, I can put the visual effects into that and then have it blend a little bit more organically, versus leaving it like super, super unsaturated and low contrast, which can be a little trickier to blend for me. So but I didn't want to go overboard with it. I didn't want it to have some huge, super contrasty blue sci-fi look to it. I wanted to so I was balancing this high contrast sci-fi look with just kind of like a more natural kind of look. And we shot raw, so it gave me all the flexibility to kind of push and pull the colors how I wanted. Nice.
And you said it was an overcast day you shot?
Yeah. Yeah, yes. Thankfully.
It was it was in fall and it was overcast, so it just happened. It actually started to rain towards the very end of that, because we were like crap. So we were trying. So the last scene where I'm like kicking the leaves, I just have like mud and grass stains all underneath, because by then it had started raining. It would start and stop. We'd have to come back inside and wait. But everything, I mean, the weather held out pretty good.
Yeah.
We like when that happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you guys have a little podcasting to do.
Yes.
We do, yeah.
You've been doing it for, actually, you've been doing it for quite some time. I listened to a few episodes. Some pretty cool stuff.
So you're the one.
Question for you. I mean, we're all indie filmmakers. So we all know that we have to wear a lot of hats.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one episode where you were talking about wearing a lot of hats. What are your favorite hats to wear?
I
mean,
director for me.
Yeah,
I mean that's kind of where, for me, it all kind of amalgamated around that. I wanted to make films and direct films, so then I'd have to learn how to light the films because we didn't live in a city or anything, so getting help wasn't necessarily an option always. So I just started to have to teach myself all this stuff just to support the fact that I wanted to direct something. So that always comes first for me.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'd like to say that I'd like to just wear the actor's hat, but that never happens. So I honestly don't know what it feels like in our films to just like show up and act. I mean, because I'm playing, you know, we do everything really. I mean, that was the only way we were able to make films. And so I enjoy obviously the writing process and the acting, but that's probably the one hat I wish I could solely wear. But unfortunately at the same time, I'm usually wearing the craft service hat. So I have to stop a scene. We'll stop the scene and then I have to plan everything through the day to then cook for everybody and jump back into it. So that's my least favorite hat to wear. Not that you asked that, but I love to cook. I've been cooking since I was a kid, but I would love to not do that on set.
Now, what's the most challenging aspect of filmmaking for you guys with this project and with other projects that you've done?
For us, it's always a matter of locations are a big challenge for us. And yeah, I think probably the location. I mean, money is a problem for everybody, but I think for us, locations is a huge
location and time. But the time is usually because of budget.
Yeah,
right. You know, we're working on what we're learning isn't even when people talk about micro budgets. It's usually 10,000 and over, and we've never made anything for $10,000. So we're like we're whatever layer underneath that. We usually are between. I mean, at this point, it's like around $5,000 usually for a short, but we've made them for $1,000. I mean, Neptune cost us nothing. So we just kind of work with what we have, but budgeting is, you know, that's for me, I think is probably it's where it all starts, because if we had a bigger budget, then we would be able to film for longer and better locations. And, you know, so it's usually a lot of racing around to try to get things done.
Yeah. And I think from more of a personal standpoint or like technical side of it, I think for me anyway, the business side of everything, you know, as artists, we love to create things, but then to go out and sell yourself and to go out and put your business hat on, I think it's tricky for a lot of artists. And I know for me, as soon as I finish making something, I want to make the next thing. I don't care about promoting it. Just put it out there in the world. If you like it, great. If you don't, great. Let's make the next cool thing. So, and lately we've been trying to put more of an emphasis on that side of everything.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I always find that it's so important to balance both sides of that, and it is difficult when you're the one person or the two people that's pushing the whole project or projects forward. It's a horrible challenge.
Yeah.
It is.
So tell me something. If you could take Neptune to the next step, what might that be?
I would really like to be able to do like a series. Okay. I'm currently writing my first series now, so this is a very new experience for me. And we watch a lot of series. That's probably my favorite thing to watch. Are dark dramas and sci-fi series. I just feel like you can get so much information, and you're not as limited with, you know, a 2-hour film or feature, and especially a short. It's hard to tell those stories. So I would, if I had the financial means, I would like to be able to make Neptune into some kind of a series.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be an exciting series.
Yeah, I think the structure of a series just, you know, it allows you to really spend time with the characters. A lot of times I find myself, I mean, movies are great. I love movies. I love shorts, obviously, but I feel like a lot of times I'll walk away from a movie thinking, man, I wish I was a series, because I really want to dive into these characters' lives a little bit more.
Right.
And kudos to the filmmaker for making me feel that way, but still.
You guys also do music videos.
Well, we have.
We have, yeah.
You've done a wide variety of different types of projects.
Well, we figured we'd have like our midlife crisis all like within like one decade, and so we we both love music, and ironically, way before we'd ever met one another, we both considered a career in music. So it was just ironic that we both wound up in film, and doing that. And so we just we've done music videos for our friends. We did our own music video just for the hell of it. So yeah, I mean, I just always like when music videos tell a story, and it's not just a bunch of people standing around and just playing their instruments.
Yeah.
I really like when there's a story behind it. So that's always a good fun time for me, is when I get to like write a story around a song.
Yeah, I think a lot of filmmakers are drawn to music videos because it's a great way to express like more artistically than a narrative structure. You know, you can have really pretty shots and kind of really just play with lighting and stuff without being confined to any kind of narrative structure.
Right. It gives you it gives you a degree of artistic liberty to do something you wouldn't normally do, but make it work. Now, with regards to that, how do you mix and combine or translate, or how does your music affect your narrative and your narrative affect your music, technically speaking?
In film?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, I'm music to me it can make or break a film. You can have an amazing film, and we've watched films that the music was just didn't match, and it was just so sad to see how much that pulled you out of the scene, because you're just focused on, why is this particular song on right now, and why is it so loud in a moment that is either emotional or exciting, and you're just kind of pulled out of it. So every script that I write, I know this sounds like so artsy and cliche, but I usually will listen to something when I'm writing a script. And so I usually have a playlist. And so then that playlist for me will set the mood on how I write the story. And then I'm already, like, as I'm writing it, I think of music as I'm writing it that would kind of fit that moment.
Yeah. And how does tempo, finding your tempo in the creation of that film, did you have a particular tempo or rhythm in mind with this whole the Neptune project, how the events came together and unfolded?
Tempo in terms of music?
No, tempo
of the film.
Of the film. And I guess one of the things I'm pulling together is, you guys as musicians and filmmakers, there's tempo in both. There are those beats, there are those moments that create the music and create the film, and they kind of work hand in hand sometimes. Yeah.
With this one, it was just, it was very structured, very much the way a trailer would be. You have your kind of opening, kind of slow moving stuff, and then you're setting the scene, and then it's building intensity, and then something happens, and then we cut away. So I feel like it's very much set up like a trailer in that way.
Beautiful. So what's next?
Oh, geez.
Well, we just finished a longer short. It's like a 20-minute short, which we just sent out to festivals. So we're kind of dealing with that, and then trying to manage expectations with everything that's going on. A lot of festivals are either going virtual or canceling altogether, or rescheduling or whatever. And we're writing.
We're supposed to be
series,
like right in the middle of promoting our last film that we did in the fall of Vital Sign, and then COVID hit. And so we had already done like the first batch of film fests, and that was, like $500. And then everyone was like, oh, we're not doing it, or we're doing it later, or we don't know what we're doing. And it was like, oh man. So we're kind of having to push that into next year, hopefully, when things are a bit more sure. So our actual next project we decided to do was an animation.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to get stuck with whether we would be able to be around people in the fall. Will this come back? And I didn't want to have to emotionally set us up for failure. So he loves to create things, and I had thought of a little story, and we sat and designed what we wanted it to look like. And we were like, you know what, let's just do an animation, because if we can't, we don't need a cast and crew for that,
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's going to be technically our next project.
Yeah, full CG short. So we'll see how it goes.
Very nice. Real Words, a lip reading game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was like that whisper challenge thing that was going around
Yeah.
for a while. So we wanted to put our kind of like film
we
spin
put
on
a
it.
film spin on everything, because we're just big dorks like that. And so everyone was doing that game, and I thought it would be funny, because I'm one of those people that's really annoying. When I watch a film, I know all the lines to it. And so I thought, would I recognize those lines if I couldn't hear them and I was just looking at them, watching somebody deliver that line? And so that's where that came up. And we were just really surprised by how off you can be with certain things.
Yeah.
And it just became like a fun way to pass time.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the really nice thing about the collective of your works is that it shows that you guys have a lot of fun doing what you're doing.
Otherwise, why do it?
Well, exactly. I mean, there's a certain comic element that it's really nice. It flows through, and it leaves a very nice feeling after you watch your projects, after you watch your films. So it's some good stuff.
Thank you.
Hey guys, we're gonna run out of time in about a minute, so.
Listen, congratulations on getting into the festival.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's a fantastic film, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes next. I want to know. Best luck to you both. Stay safe, and thank you for joining me. I really enjoyed this conversation.
You too. Thank you so much for having us.
You guys stay safe as well.
Take care. Stay safe.